the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. I am one with the Father, and the Father is one with me. Little flock, there comes a time in your faith when you're going to have to show your faith. And we've all heard it, faith without works is dead, and it is indeed true. Just as we read, don't just be a hearer of the word, but be doers of the word. Our faith isn't made perfect until we have done something to prove our faith. So let's look at that for a second. Do something to prove our faith. When you have to prove your faith, is it usually something that you would consider easy to do? Or something that requires some measure of difficulty? Faith is the substance of the thing hoped for, the evidence not seen. So it can't be easy if you don't got no evidence to see it, you see? Well, that thing that needs to be overcome is fear. You see, there's only two ways you can feel about the Most High. That's fear Him or love Him. You're like, what? That's right. Fear Him or love Him. You can say, well, I worship the Most High and I fear Him. Okay, that's good. But I say I worship the Most High because I love Him. Which one is better? You got two children and you have a father in the house, and they both honor their father. They both do what their father says. But one says, I do it out of fear. The other one says, I do it out of love. Which one do you think is better? So then you see, it's no different with you. We're coming to the better things, you all. You see, little flock, the promised land. Do you want to live in the wilderness? Nope. Even though the wilderness is better than Egypt, just requires some faith is all. And that's what the wilderness was about. Us trusting our faith, learning how to let go of fear. Learning how to let go of doubt. That's all that it is. And see, when you see somebody serve the Most High out of love, it's strange when you yourself serve the Most High out of fear. Do you understand it? Do you understand now the Pharisees and Yahusha? They said they served the Most High, but they served the Most High out of fear. If you do that, this will happen. If you do that, that'll happen. And if you live like that, then you're living in fear. Can you deny it? You're very careful not to make any mistakes because you might upset God. But when you learn the attributes of the Father, that He is tender, He's merciful, and He says, approach my throne of grace boldly. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Did He say approach boldly? Is that what He said? Do y'all understand the word boldly? Does it say come crouching, come scared and full of fear? Is that what you read? Go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 4. Watch this. Watch how this is going to speak to you. It's going to bring enlightenment to what we're talking about. Hebrews chapter 4. Let us therefore fear. See that word? Fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into His rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. So if you're doubting that you are in His rest or in His good graces, and you feel like you may be short, then you will indeed be in fear. You see? For unto us was a gospel preached as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. See? So how come it didn't profit them? Listen to how this goes. How come it didn't profit them? Because it was not mixed with faith. For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said. For as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. So he's already done it from the beginning. Like I said, we are predestined. And this is why, if you have faith in that and believe that, if you really in your heart believe that, then you won't walk in fear anymore. You will walk in perfect love and the fear will be cast out. But if you still have doubt, then you better walk in fear. It's okay that you walk in fear for the Most High. See, that's why I said it ain't bad. It's just better. It's what we want. We want to mix it with some faith so it can get some profit. You see? For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, as El did rest from the seventh day of all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. See? Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yahushua had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of El. See? For he that is entered into his rest, he also ceased from his own works, as El did from his. See? Rest. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. See? Having no faith. For the word of El is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing sunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him, with whom we have to do. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Yahushua, the son of El, let us also hold fast our profession. See? In other words, stand firm in which you have been called to. Stop doubting. Stop having fear. Stop worrying if you're going to be pleasing to God by what you've done. You are already preordained. Don't you believe that and have faith? Well, if you did, you would walk differently. You wouldn't have fear about, oh, I might have said this wrong, or I might have did that wrong. Your name is written in the book of life. So then how did you do something wrong? Why were you so doubtful, putting your talents under a bushel? Why were you hiding them and burying them and putting them in the ground? Because you knew God was a hard taskmaster and he was an austere man. So you buried it instead of using it. Oh, I thought God would be mad at me if I said that. I thought God would be mad at me if I did that. I thought God would be mad at me. Yeah. Just like they said, I thought God would be mad at Yahushua for drinking wine and being what they called a wine bibber and a glutton. But wisdom is justified of her children. You see? You see that? Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's see where we at here. Let's keep going. My bad, y'all. I'm just reading a little extra stuff just in case I want to go somewhere else. But all right, let's go back. Hebrews chapter 4. Let's read 14 again. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Yahushua the son of El, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities. See? He understands what we're going through. He understands the struggles you got. He understands that you want to be pleasing to the Most High in every single way. But he understands that you fall short. He knows that. But was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore... So, see how the next thing he says? He says, since Yahushua understands what you're going through, then come boldly. Ain't that what he say? Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. See? Do it say come weak? Do it say come struggling? Do it say come sad? Do it say come complaining? Do it say come whining? No, it does not. It says come boldly. So I'll share a vision I had with you guys. I had a vision. I was walking up to the throne of grace to talk to my Father. And as I was walking up to the throne of grace, very boldly, might I add, I noticed that there were men and women on the side of me, on the side of the road that I was walking up. And some of them were down on their knees saying, Lord, help me. Bless me, Lord. If you just send down your grace on me. If you just do this, if you do that. And they were begging. And as I kept walking, I saw groups of people off on the side of the path. As I walked past very boldly, please, please help us. We're going through this. If you could just help us, Lord. If you could just help us. And I walked on up to my Father and had a good conversation with him in that vision. Well, he was reminding me and teaching me. He said, look at all of these people that say they worship me, yet they do not come boldly to my throne. They come every other kind of way other than what I told them. You see? Why? Because they still have fear. That's why. And that's why they were on the road. It's not like they were far off from the path. They were right next to the path. But instead of walking on it, they were sitting down, asking Abba to come to them. Asking Abba to do something for them, instead of just approaching his throne and walking up boldly to it. Making their request known boldly. Whatever your struggle is, just tell it to Abba, in other words. Hey, Abba, I be feeling convicted when I do this. So help me to not do that, then I won't feel convicted anymore. See? It's so simple and so easy. Instead of, oh, I'm just such a wretch. I'm just nothing good. I'm just gonna just die because I don't have anything worth of value. You see, that's the wrong way. That's the way we came out of. Self-pity, ignorance, shame, fear, guilt. All of that has been done away with. And now we have been given everlasting life, no condemnation to those who be in Christ. Now, if you are in Christ, is there any condemnation? So then why are you spending any moment of your time condemning yourself? Skeet-dee-dee, that don't make no darn sense, because if you can't be condemned, then why are you saying you can? You don't believe Abba Yah's words? You just have to know if you be Christ. And if you be Christ, then you be free indeed. Just like he said. Christ can't be condemned. So if you are one with Christ, then how can you be condemned? Skeet-dee-dee, I am so free. I am so free. I am so free. You see? You learn to stop serving Abba with fear. And you learn to start serving him in love. Now let's see if that's what the whole Bible was about. The Israelites were walking around stoning people and saying if you do this, God's going to kill you. And if you do that, that's sin and you should be condemned and bleebity, 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 bleebity. And we caught her in adultery. We should stone her and all of that. And Yahusha came full of truth and grace. Yeah, I'll tell you the truth of your sin, but I'll also give you grace. So approach me boldly with your sin. And I'll tell you the truth of it while giving you grace. But niggas don't do that. They don't approach the throne of grace. You see, like I told you in the vision, they sit off to the side of the road because of fear. You don't have to have fear, is the point. We want to do something better. You see that? Matter of fact, while we were looking in Hebrews, let's see what we can find here. Let's see what we can find real quick. Hebrews chapter 8. Hebrews chapter 8. Go to verse 6. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry. See, more excellent. More excellent. See, by how much also he is the mediator of a what? A better covenant. Better, which was established upon better promises. Y'all hear that today? For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he says, behold, the days come, says Abba Yah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehudah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, says Abba Yah. So he made a covenant with us first. That's the Mosaic covenant, which was based on fear. Serving God out of fear. That's what it was about. So he gave us a better covenant because he obtained a more excellent ministry, a new way of talking to us about the commandments that's not based on fear. It's based on love for the Father. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. That's what started being said. Instead of if you fear me, you will keep my commandments, which was good, but it's better to love him, as we're reading right now. You see? You see? For 10, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says Abba Yah. What's the covenant, Abba? I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them an El, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Abba Yah, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness. See? So if you believe that Abba is merciful to your unrighteousness, then why are you afraid to approach the throne of grace? Say, Abba, in my infirmity, I lack here, or my mouth ain't right here, or my this ain't right here, or however, like Moses said, I don't speak right. Remember, see? But Abba was merciful, just like he says here. I will be merciful to their unrighteousness and their sins and their iniquities. Will I remember no more? So he's already told you he ain't gonna remember what you did wrong no more. So you may as well walk in freedom. See? In that he says, a new covenant he hath made, the first old. Serving Abba Yah out of fear is old now. Now that which decayeth and waxed old is ready to vanish away. See, serving him out of fear is ready to vanish away. Serve him out of love now. Don't be looking at the sinful thing, still loving it, but saying, okay, I know that if I do that I could die, so let me not do that. Okay, to hell with not dying. Why don't you say, I'm not doing that because I love my Father and he said don't do it. That's better to be like that. Y'all hear the grandson teaching y'all today about this? Okay? Let's continue on this. Matter of fact, well, we got a little bit of time. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 1. Then verily, the first covenant, which we just discussed, fear, had also ordinance of divine service, and a worldly sanctuary, a 3D building you could go to. But where did Abba say he's going to put the laws and commandments now? In you. You're going to be the temple now, instead of the worldly sanctuary of the first covenant. See? Verse 2. For there was a tabernacle made, see? The first, see? Wherein was a candlestick, and the table, the showbread, which is called the sanctuary. And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna, and Aaron's rod that budded in the tables of the covenant. See? The Mosaic law. You see it? And over it the cherubims of glory shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot speak particularly. Now when these things were thus ordained, the priest went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of God. But into the second went the high priest only. You hear that? went the high priest only, this is the first covenant, once a year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. The Holy Ghost, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing. See? So while the first temple was up, the 3D worldly temple, we had not yet understood these things. The Holy Ghost hadn't made manifest what we was doing yet. See, verse 9, which was a figure, see, symbol for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to his conscience. He still knew, even if he did the sacrifices and he did everything and he prayed to God, his conscience still bore witness against him that he was still sinning. Say somebody had murdered somebody. Their conscience would always wear against them of this. You see? 10. Which stood only in meats and drinks and divers washings, and carnal ordinances, see 3D, imposed on them until the time of reformation. That was the way it worked until it was time to be reformed. But Christ, being come a high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, see his body, not made with hands, see, that is to say, not of this building, see, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For if the blood of bulls and of goats and ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh, then how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to El, purging your conscience, see, washing your conscience from dead works to serve the living El, see, purging your conscience. So you no longer feel bad or feel guilt about your shortcomings, about where you fall short. You don't feel bad about it anymore. What did Paul say? I rejoice in my infirmities. Y'all don't get it yet? Y'all don't see it yet. Y'all trying to be perfect on your own power. You can't be. You can't be. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, fear, the things you did while you were living in fear, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. For where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. For a testament is of force after men are dead. Otherwise, it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth. Whereupon, neither the first testament was dedicated without blood. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and goats and with water and scarlet wool and hyssop and sprinkled both the people and the book. See? Signifying that they agreed to the covenant, saying, this is the blood of the testament with El hath enjoined unto you. See, it's the same thing Christ did when he took the cup and the bread. Same thing. Moreover, he sprinkled with blood both the tabernacle, the vessels of the ministry, and almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission. See, it was therefore necessary that the pattern of things in the heavens shall be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ is not entered into the holy places made with hands. Did y'all hear that or what? I want y'all to hear that again. Christ is not entered into the holy places made with hands. So that temple that they're building over there, is Christ there? So if they tell you that Christ is there, are they telling you the truth? If anybody builds a temple and then says that Christ is in there, are they telling you the truth or are they lying? For Christ is not entered into the holy places made with hands, which are the figures of the true. See? So a church building is nothing but a picture of the true church. Just a figure. But into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of El for us. Nor yet that he should offer himself often, as the high priest entered in the holy place every year for the blood of others. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. But now once in the end of the world hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment, so Christ was once offered to bear the sin of many, and unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation. So if you believe these words, then you shouldn't have fear. You shouldn't be serving God in fear. You see that? Isn't it easy and simple once you hear the truth? The truth should set you free indeed, isn't it? So all those things, those Old Testament ways that the old Israelites were doing, the ancient Israelites were doing, were all a picture. They were all outward show of something deeper, or as Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. He went through the veil of his inner self. Men were distracted with their outer self, not going within. So Christ had to remind us and teach us that that is the only place that we will find the Father. Is going within. You see? And in order to do that, you have to come to the Father. Well, you have to come boldly, and not out of fear, but out of love for the Father. Letting the Father know that your desire is to keep his commands. Your desire is not to disappoint him. But the things that be in you that are calling to be freed, you must set them free. You must set them free indeed. Your gifts, your skills, your talents, set them free. Don't worry about the judgment of men, for their judgment is false. But the judgment of your Father is true. And if he have given you a gift to use today, use it in this last hour to bring glory and honor. And don't be found putting it under a bushel. Don't be found wasting your talents, but use them today to bring fruits and glory to the kingdom. Silouam, little flock.